born in England and lived in Australia. My grandfather joined the church in Australia, and my grandfather served on a mission in 1862 while in Australia. Then my folks came to, and my grandfather, Blackburn, came to the USVIA California on a cattle ship. And then my father served a mission in England in 1892.
Okay.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is me back in 1924, 26.
26.
This is the first missionary picture. This is the group that landed in Chicago, Illinois together. We had our pictures taken.
On the way?
Huh?
You're going to where?
To South Bend,
Yeah,
Indiana. We were assigned different places. One of these boys went to an apartment with me to stay, and I've never seen him since. That night we stayed together in an apartment in Chicago. And now I'll say this, my sister Charlotte went to the northern states, and she was assigned to the Michigan district, and the Bible she used, she gave it to me. I used the Bible for 2 years, and John Barry was called on a mission to California, and I gave it to him, and he used it now. Now these are the first two of the mission presidents. President Taylor was on a mission in England the same time my father was. They were well acquainted. And Noah Pond was my second mission president. After about a year, they sent him there, and he was from Idaho. This Elder William Fond was from Canada, and he was the first district president I had. These are the next three district presidents I had: Dykes and Langlois and Lawrence Smith. Lawrence was the nicest one of the bunch, and he lives over in Snowflake, Arizona. I saw him just last summer. And he has relatives up at Parawan, and I knew his relatives, and he didn't know it till we got there. This is another Northern States mission in a district, and I have the names all here. Some of them I remember, and some, but I talked about the missionaries. They come out for 6 months. I can see one of them there. They were older men. This picture here of Elder Spencer is a cousin of mine, and we got acquainted in Indianapolis, Indiana. And he was on one side of the street. It was a narrow street, however, and I was on the other side with some elders, and he yelled at me, "Hello, cousin." And I said, "Where'd you get that cousin stuff from, Elder Spencer?" And he says, "You know Aunt Lottie Cox, don't you?" That was my grandmother, and it was his aunt. This is the first missionary that I worked with. And I didn't know it, but he died over here at Washington. I had never saw him after I come off a mission. I kept track of him and knew where he was. When I went to see him, he was so sick he didn't know me. This is the three missionaries I really liked the best and got along the best with. And they were all come from rural communities. Elder Cole come from Preston, Idaho. Elder Jensen came from Huntsville, Utah. Their farm was right against the McKay's farm. And Chet Willis came from Mesa, Arizona. His folks had property down there. He was nice. He just passed away a year or two. They've all passed on.
Tell about his wife.
Oh, not Elder Jensen. Elder Willis, his wife, was a stake president's daughter, and they got secretly married just before they went on a mission. Never told anyone. I'm the only guy that ever knew it. He got well acquainted with me and liked me, and so he told me his life story. And among other things, that was it. And then as soon as he got back, they went to the temple and was remarried.
we went down and took Vaughn down there and lived part of one winter, put him in school here at Jensen's brother's place. It was a big farm down in Mesa, Arizona. We got Vaughn and John Mary and Dwight in school. Claire, I guess, went to school too. William was the only one that didn't. The 5 boys down there, and they were good. They treated us just like their own family. But I want to tell about Jensen that married the McKay girl.
Wow. Yeah, this Elder Jensen married Thomas McKay's daughter. And president of the church, McKay, was her uncle. So Thomas McKay and what was his name? Elder McKay. President McKay were brothers.
Yes. David O. McKay.
Now these aren't no missionaries, they're missionaries. I don't know who this one girl is, but this was Velma Brinkerhoff.
Glendale.
From Glendale. And this is her cousin Maureen Brinkerhoff from Glendale, and they was on a mission the same time. They went just before I did. And this is Arliss Croft from the Croft Lumber Company, the oldest one. And he was just the age of my brother, just younger than me. And he filled a mission in Germany.
They were neighbors here in Ardaville.
This picture here is in Indianapolis, Indiana. I can tell from the church house. This is one of our district meetings when just our district met. And I can tell about the time it is from the guy was the third district president was this guy right here. And I think this was the last one that President Taylor visited us. Now, this picture, I'm sure, is on the banks looking down off Niagara Falls. I can see that it is in the background. And it was sure windy and cold. I don't know where this picture was taken, but that was Elder Cole and Elder Jensen. This is in Fort Wayne, Indiana. This is the ball band factory that makes bottles.
Bottling company.
Not a bottling company, a bottle making company. They make all our fruit jars. You'll notice on some of them ball band. In one of our district meetings, this is all the lady missionaries there was there, and they got together and had their picture taken. This was an early picture in South Bend, Indiana, I can tell from the look. This is a main attraction in Indianapolis, Indiana. They called it the Circle, and it's a sailors and soldiers monument in the middle, and the businesses, there's a street clear around this, and there's the businesses is all around on just one side of the street. South Bend, Indiana, at the apartment where we live. This is the same apartment. This is a lady missionary I met. She knew the Crofts. She was from Richfield, Utah. This is Sister Taylor and the missionaries in our district. This is Indianapolis Chapel again. And this is Elder Hunt from up here at Vail. And he's a cousin to Al Truman that lives here that we know well. That looks like South Bend again. That looks like the car we came home in, a Model A Ford. That's on the steps, and those are both. Those two could be in Newcastle, Indiana, because Chet was my companion, and I think that's where that is. But this is in South Bend, because that's the steps we went up. Come on, nothing. Elder Jensen, Elder Cole, Elder Willis, and Elder Cole, and Detta McBride. She was a nice girl. I met her after we got back off the mission, and she saw me and she come running up to me and she said, "I want to tell you, I got married." There's the Ford we come home in. This is a home in Palmyra, New York, where we visited, where the prophet lived. This is again at Niagara Falls, and this is Elder Scholes. Was a very nice fellow. He's from Provo, Utah, and I've never gotten to see him again. This was just a landscape. We was up on the hill and looked in, and I saw it, and I said I wanted a picture of that. That was on our trip. We went back east, after I was released, and went to Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia and over to Niagara Falls and over in Canada and back at Detroit.
How many missionaries?
5 of us. I guess this was probably the last district meeting we met. I'm sure it is. I can tell Detta McBride and her folks was the architects. I can't remember the last name now, and Elder Willis there by him, but I can tell from the mission president what time it was, and the missionary. It looks to me like, with the exceptions of 1 or 2, I'm the oldest missionary out in the group, in terms of service, not in age. Now, that ends it then.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.